Welcome back, Weather Kingdom. In this live stream, we are just going to be taking a look at an active Thanksgiving looking very likely with some very cold air, also some very important stuff. So this is for the next 3 to 4 weeks temperature outlook. This was actually just updated on the 21st once again. Last time we looked at this, it was, I think, the 18th or 19th of an update version of this. I haven't really gotten into the channel that much. I've been kind of watching the models, watching everything, and seeing what could really go down. So just give me 1 second. We're going to get everything going here pretty good. With some very cold air. How are you guys? How are you? We're hoping to get this stream going. We're hoping to make everything good again. I'm going to just do a simple update here. I'm not going to be, going crazy. All right, just one moment. Let me just get everything going good here. Let me do this. All right, before we actually get in the stream. All right, if you guys are new to the channel, please like, please subscribe. Also, if you guys feel free to donate, that would be an awesome Thanksgiving present. That'd be nice to see. Let me just quickly go back in here. I'm gonna keep a monitor of the chat, but I'm gonna pretty much get this stream started here and just keep it going. All right. So this is the latest 3 to 4 weeks temperature outlook, and majority of the upper west and most of the central United States, you could especially tell in the Oklahoma area, into the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, it's looking very chilly. It's looking at least of slightly below temperatures. And I think this is going to be the theme throughout the coming days here on this winter outlook and discussion is the cold air. We're going to be having a stratosphere warming event already starting to get in place. And now the question is, how long is it going to stay? What is the pattern most likely going to do? When we take a look at this, you can tell we even have a second coating of blue, and then even a third coating far up to the north here, up in Maine, parts of the Great Lakes. This is for pretty much below temperatures. Nothing really to be expecting any more. It's not very, very below, but it is pretty cold, pretty chilly, at least 10 to 15 degrees below average. To the south of the United States, we're talking about the warmer air. That's looking like the most likely outcome at this given point. I'm not expecting too much to really change. When we take a look at the moisture, pretty active moisture coming down with some Alberta clippers, and I think even up in the Midwest for the next 3 to 4 weeks is looking pretty moist. We also have another area that's going to be very important. This is going to be due to the lake effect, I think. There's going to be a big lake effect storm that's going to be happening across the Great Lakes, and we're going to actually talk about that in this update. When we take a look at the 8 to 14 day, this is also very significant. This is was updated on the 22nd yesterday. Warmer air, if you guys are in about the mid-Atlantic on south to the East Coast, I think it's going to be some warmer air, but it's not going to be crazy warm. I mean, even right now, it's 43 degrees outside in my area, and the temperature's just been struggling to reach in the 50s this so far all of November, and it's pretty chilly, pretty cold. But when we take a look at here, in the Midwest, we're talking about very below temperatures. We're talking about pretty cold. We're not just talking about the third color below. We're talking about 80 to 90% likely below. That's a very big indication some colder air and snowier chances are likely to be ahead. When we take a look at the latest European model, we kind of really discovered here in the next 48 hours, we have a storm system with some showers and thunderstorms moving along the southeast and mid-Atlantic while we have a low pressure up here, giving the areas up here a little bit of a snow event. And I think that's not going to be too much of a snow event. I think more like a 2 to 4 inch event. It's going to be quickly moving. That's going to just continue to move across the Dakotas, a clipper system, and then in the Northeast, some rain. Probably another gloomy night, some leaves on the ground, whatever is really left. And then this is going to be the lake effect. When this low really deepens here, we're going to be taking a look at a pretty strong force to wind on these Great Lakes and some very cold air along the Great Lakes. And I do think this is going to be our next big lake effect snow outbreak once again for all the lakes. Also, I'm believing very strong winds. This is for the next 4 days, you guys. And then once again, another snowstorm across the northern parts of Canada, continuing to build that sheet of snow and very cold air. Also, you can tell the pattern really changes back into a very favorable place. A few weeks ago, we thought this would be a little bit more warmer, but the models have trended colder. And we're not really seeing any warming event. We're just seeing some pretty stable air for the season. And then look at this, some very heavy snow. And actually, I would like to take a look at the regional areas and like to take a look at the Northeast because this is pretty significant. Look at some of these snow bands coming off the lakes here. We got a good precision bands coming off Lake Erie, parts of PA, and look at all these darker blues in here. And this is a global model, even across Lake Ontario, Buffalo, just north of Buffalo here. Pretty crazy lake effect snow event that's going to be taking place for your Thanksgiving. Very cold air, very blustery, very windy. And this actually does continue in the overnight hours. And then eventually I do think this will lighten up. When we take a look at the snowfall, I really want to take a look at the snowfall. So we're going to take a look at the 10 and... No. So we're going to have to take a look at this. This is the 10 and 1 ratios. And for this, pretty much, if you guys are along the Great Lakes, we're expecting maybe up to 5 to 10 inches of snow. I do think if you guys are on the outside regions, I think 2 to 4 is more of a likely. Even parts of northern PA, maybe a coating to an inch. Buffalo, New York, only like 3 to 5 inches. Northern parts here, maybe 4 to 8 inches. Along the extreme lakes, probably maybe even a foot of snow with this European model that I do believe. Okay, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays a role. I think we're going to have to wait just another day before I can make some clarification on what's going to happen. That moves on, and now I want to take a look at the nation again. All right. We talk about another storm system in the next 6 days coming out of the Rocky Plains. Very interesting. We do have a frontal end snow and rain. And then on the northern side, this is a recipe for quite a bit of snow possible across these regions. And as we take it a little bit further past 6 days, look at what happens. We talk about a developing snowstorm and a very large one. If you guys are actually in Chicago, parts of the Great Lakes, it looks like maybe a frontal end snowstorm. Even parts back in the Rockies, the areas like this where I just circled, looking to me of a pretty big snowstorm at this given point. This is in the next 6 to 7 days, you guys. A pretty big snowstorm with some potentially severe weather to the south, with a low really starting to wrap. Also, we got very cold air here too. So I'm very interested on how this frontal end snow develops, because some of the models are a little bit closer to the mid-Atlantic and Northeast than you think. The Euro just has it glazing the Great Lakes, all of the Great Lakes potentially in a potential first snowstorm of the season. And then the snow starts to die off back in there as less precipitous back in the Dakotas and Bismarck area. And then maybe even a little bit of severe weather also that we'll have to watch. We're definitely going to be talking about this later tonight as things are going to be very important and something to watch. Now let's take a looking. Looks like the warmer temperatures come in. Some rain actually takes over the Chicago area, and a lot of this snow starts to die as the system really starts to die and brings some showers across the Northeast, maybe up for Maine, some snow showers. And then we can see some resistance of moisture and kind of like a battleground of the cold air and stuff. And then that kind of moves out. And we're set here with the future past 10 days, and we don't know. What I do know is very cold temperatures, a lot of lake effect chances, very strong winds, and extreme cold is looking very likely across the Northeast. And then look at this, by the end of the run, a potential little snow event across the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. That moves on, and the cold air continues to spin. So when we take a look at your total snowfall across the next 10 to 15 days, pretty much if you guys, this is all lake effect, all right? This is lake effect snow, nothing big with snowstorms there. A lot of snow for the Northern America up here and for Canada, especially for the Canada regions. We're going to be packing it down with the snow, but definitely a cold, you could tell where the cold pattern is going to be. Much across Northern America is very likely. Now, I want to take a look at this, is the GFS model. What is the GFS really showing? And let's go out to here. This is the GFS model showing that storm system brings some rain and then that lake effect snow. And now let's resume it back into the Northeast. Look at this, you guys. Some pretty good lake effect snow for a couple days, you guys, is very possible. And when we take a look at the snowfall totals, yeah, you could tell some of these regions along the lakes, you know, up to maybe 5 to 10 inches, locally 12 inches. This could definitely be more. I'll have to wait for the future models and stuff. Also, thank you guys for 5 likes. That's very greatly appreciated. If you guys are new to the channel, please like, please subscribe. And then look at this. Some very interesting stuff there with the lake effect. Now let's take it a little bit farther back, and our next storm system is developing. And look at this. The GFS is a little bit more faster, and it brings, you know, parts of the Great Lakes, PA, with some of this snow, lighter to moderate snow, and even makes it in the eastern PA. And then look at this. This is our next big storm system. It kind of waits, and then look, same idea with a event, but look, rain on December 1st. And then look at that, a second piece of energy a little bit further south, and then a little bit of a battle zone across the New England area, and then that colder air comes in for the December 4th. So the GFS in Euro has the very similar idea. It's still a little bit unknown. Where is the battle line going to set up? Where's the heaviest of the snow is going to set up? And then you can see another little storm system that I don't believe in. And then look at this, especially into later December, looking very cold, very chilly, and some snow chances to continue to rattle. When we take a look at the snowfall for the next 15 days up to December 9th, pretty much, once again, the same looking to me of the Euro. A lot of snow for parts of the North America. Some of this is lake effects, some of this is just some snow showers, but look at this. A lot of snow is going to be starting to accumulate with some pretty big snowstorms that are going to be very possible. And that's the main theme that I really want to share with you guys. That is going to be very likely. And even these temperatures. When we take a look at these temperatures, especially across the Northeast, I mean, your daytime highs are only in the 40s. Now, as I'm making this live stream, it's 44 degrees. So, and it's 2:44. So it looks like temperatures are going to continue to struggle to make it past 45 or more. And then you can see maybe in the 50s finally in the next couple. Actually, wait. This is actually right. Wait. This is actually as of right now. Today is supposed to make it into the mid 40s to maybe even 50s. Right now I'm at 44, so we'll have to wait and see. And then once again, another cold night. Very cold air, lower 30s, upper 20s. We do it again tomorrow. It looks to me even colder on the GFS. So really the struggle, and I really think these next coming days are going to be the warmest. And then maybe we get one day around the 26th on the Thanksgiving with that warmer air. Might bring up some mid-50s to even lower 60s across southern PA. I think that's a possibility, but then look, the colder air and even the daytime highs on that is in the upper 30s to 40s, night times even colder, and then your daytime highs only reaching the upper 30s, much across the Northeast and even some spots into the 30s, and then you got that wind chill, and the nighttime temperatures, once again, it really looks like we're going to struggle, and then maybe around the December 1st, depending on the storm track, we're talking about the 50s again, and then after that, it is straight out just cold, cold, cold. I mean, daytime highs only reaching in the 30s, night times, and then, a few days where it might reach a little bit more. I'm still on the waiting on the see of this all. I just don't know fully yet. This is the Canadian model. This is our next storm system. And then that lake effect, once again, does it again. And when we take a look at the lake effect, look at this. Lake effect there is, up to 24 inches. So the GEM model, a.k.a. the Canadian model, is a little bit more colder and sees a little bit more of a snow chance. We'll have to wait and see. When we take a look at the longer range, there it is, that frontal end system. Canadian likes it a little bit between the Euro and GFS. Frontal end snow changes over to rain, and then look at this. The battle line is just across the Northeast here. I mean, you got your snow line reaching like this, and you got a load that's moving like this. So I think there's still some room to talk if the Northeast is going to see any rain or just some snow or what. And then look at this. The second system starts rolling in. So to me, it's kind of a wait and see. I just don't know fully yet. When we take a look at the CFS here, and when we take a look at the precip here, look at this. Pretty much the same thing. The system moves forward. This is our next system. Look at that. Boom. Pretty cold air. I mean, I think the models in the next coming 8 to 14 days is pretty in good in agreement that we're going to have 2 potential snow chances. Question is, where does the battle line set up? I think that's still in the talks, and I think I'm going to talk to you guys about that more tonight in tonight's live stream. And then boom. Look at this. Very cold air. And I mean, the CF has been showing us, even into later December. Looks to me of very cold air and some very interesting stuff. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? How's the European APHIS? Alright. No. That's pretty good. So, I mean, I think I'm actually going to end it here, you guys. I think that was a good update. I think we kind of got the information I wanted to get.